Artifacts and ephemera as part of using original materials and primary sources, in this case in the history program. In terms of artifacts, as I mentioned before, they can be a valuable addition to your family archives, but in general, artifacts can tell a story about the past. And I look at a lot of these things as just about everything has made a contribution to the nature of our past, our culture, and our customs. And these are things that the history teacher can examine and use to understand the past and what life was like. In the artifact area, I used to have a show and tell day for my class, and the instructions to the class was to bring in something old from home, and it was quite amazing how many different things were brought in. And I asked them to put it in a bag and not to show anyone before class. So what came in were things like old kitchen utensils, old books, photographs, carpenter's tools, maps, fountain pens, travel souvenirs, just to name a few. If the item was not recognized, we played a game called 20 Questions, and this was really important because I would ask the students to ask questions about the item, not guess what it is. That's a general tendency. Students want to guess what everything is, and I say, no, you can't guess what it is. You have to ask questions to gather some information that will lead you to understand what it is, which was the practicing again of the inquiry method. So this worked well, and it just is another way for you, the teacher, to allow students to practice the historical methodology. Now, the word ephemera, or originated from the Greek word meaning lasting one day, so it could be referred to also as memorabilia. It would be used for a short period of time with the assumption that it would be thrown out. This type of memorabilia is generally found in written or printed form on paper. Normally it was not something to cherish or to keep. So Morris Rickards, in his Encyclopedia of Ephemera, describes it as the mirror of everyday life. And I think that's a good way of looking at it. So I've collected boxes of ephemera over the years to show my classes and let them use. And things, just I've got a list of maybe 100 things here, but just general things like ledgers and catalogs and receipts and posters, coupons, postcards, pamphlets, newspapers, collector's cards, political advertising, political pinbacks, certificates, coasters, luggage decals, menus, magazines, it goes on and on and on. So these, you can see, are the kinds of things that generally would have been thrown out, but in many cases, much of it is still around and something that you can hunt for. So I'd give each student, again, like I did with the photographs, a sample. They were to do the same thing. They were to look at what was there, what the details were, write down what they saw, and make some assumptions, and at the same time ask questions in terms of what they might want to know further about it. And being the more experienced person in the classroom, I could answer most of their questions. So it's learning again through the inquiry method, asking questions, gathering data to arrive at some kind of understanding of what was in front of them. The most important thing was, though, they were learning about lifestyle in the past, and they were able to compare lifestyle then with now, and it's a good way of learning some history that way. So where do you find this kind of thing? They're usually very inexpensive. You can find them online. You can find them at flea markets, in your own family, and just ask around friends and neighbors if they have anything that would fit the bill. And pretty soon you have a good collection of this kind of thing. With me, the whole thing about ephemera raises this question: is how often can you take a hobby and turn it into a teaching passion and even a long-term retirement activity? And this is what happened to me. I was able to enjoy the whole idea of collecting memorabilia, and the excitement of the hunt. Finding things is as important as anything, and I used to enjoy that, to find resources for my classroom. I enjoyed seeing the students responding and the intensity of their learning when they dealt with these materials. It brought excitement to the students, and the students found learning as fun. And you were still keeping your subject integrity and your subject methodology in check, and you were giving them the tools to arrive at conclusions by using the observations they were making. So teaching can be about life, not simply about teaching, and that's what I've discovered in my enjoyment of collecting, and something that you might consider yourself if you're so willing to do. So think about it, and next time we're going to be looking at architecture as living history.